piercing the veils of darkness. The story of Helen Keller's formative years is a wonderful example of the peculiar alchemy wrought by the coming together of perfectly matched teacher and pupil, each fulfilling the other. Anne Mansfield Sullivan was a young aspiring teacher when she met and started working with the little blind and deaf girl who, under her awakening touch, was transmuted into one of the greatest persons of her time. Born in 1880, Helen Keller was a perfectly normal child until the age of 2, when an illness permanently deprived her of her sight and hearing. Her subsequent journey from this utterly silent darkness to her position as the world's first well-educated blind and deaf person is a marvelous story. More than any other, the person who made this possible was Helen's teacher, Anne Sullivan. It is difficult to decide which of the two was more remarkable. Helen Keller, the brilliant and exemplary pupil who overcame seemingly insurmountable odds to achieve learning, or Anne Sullivan, the totally self-giving and self-effacing teacher who for close to a decade and a half devoted every minute of her time to helping her pupil. To understand their story, one must first understand the particular difficulty that the blind and deaf face. They have to rely solely on their sense of touch to contact the outside world. In the last century, relatively little was known of how to educate such handicapped persons, and Helen Keller's achievements blazed a trail through virgin land. Anne Sullivan had only a few months to prepare for her work with Helen and almost no guidance on the method to be used. Her only help was the example of Dr. Samuel Gridley Hoe, who just a few years before had succeeded in teaching language to a blind and deaf child through raised type. His pioneering work was Anne's first guide, but every subsequent step was based on her own intuitive understanding of what was best for the child in her care. To start with, Miss Sullivan made contact with the child's mind through sense of touch. Slowly, Helen learned the manual alphabet by connecting words with objects. In a little while, she could read and write in Braille. In a few years, the child was transformed. Books became her constant companions. Until the age of 10, Helen could communicate only with sign language of the deaf-mute. This condition was most unsatisfactory for her, and she resolved to learn to speak. That this was considered a near impossibility which did not deter her. She was used to measuring herself by the standards of a normal person, protesting vehemently at any attempted easing of her taxing daily schedule. The only means Helen had of distinguishing the thousands of intonations that make up habitual speech was to place her hands on the lips and throat of her teacher, and then to do the same to herself and try to imitate the sound. This had to be repeated hundreds of times before a satisfactory result was achieved. The pain and heartache of the struggle is described in her own words, and the fact that she succeeded is a proof of her indomitable spirit. She could not have done it so without her teacher. So close were they that they would seem to be one being in two bodies. Having learned speech, Helen decided she wished to go to college. Here too her teacher's aid became indispensable as Helen strove to keep up with the rest of the seeing and hearing students. All the books of which embossed copies did not exist had to be read to her by Miss Sullivan. Helen graduated from Radcliffe with honours in 1904. After this, she became concerned with the conditions of the blind and deaf and soon was active on the staff of the American Association for the Blind. The indefatigable energy that she had given to her own education, she now spent in improving the lives of handicapped persons all over the world. Anne Sullivan gave the best years of her life to Helen, seldom leaving her side until her pupil had graduated from college. The principles of teaching that Anne Sullivan evolved through her association with Helen are applicable universally. The fundamental point was to draw out the innate, latent capabilities within the child, taking care not to destroy her originality in the artificial atmosphere of a classroom where lessons are taught. It was her genius for sensing the right approach for each situation that helped create the phenomenon of Helen Keller. Her approach remains of perennial value to all teachers of young children.